I have 3 short sponsor messages before we get into today's show. First, if you have a great domain name and nothing to show when people visit, you're missing out on potential advertising revenue, leads, and partnership opportunities. NicheWebsites.com can build you a site quickly with a price option to suit any need. But as their tagline says, they don't just build websites, they build businesses. Second, if you're buying or selling a domain name or a portfolio and you want an estimate of its value, Estimate.com is the place to go. Just like you'd visit Zillow.com to get an estimate of a house value, Estimate.com provides key information about the most important statistics so you can make an informed decision based on data. Finally, DNX.com is a domain name exchange that uses a reverse auction platform to provide fair market prices for quality domain names that are manually filtered by an experienced broker. At DNX.com, domain prices drop until someone decides the price is right. But don't wait too long or the domain you love might be purchased by someone else. All 3 sponsors have a clickable banner in the upper right-hand corner of DomainSherpa.com. Here's your program. Hey everyone, I'm Michael Seiger, publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review. This is the show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics. We have 3 sections on the review. First, an investor-submitted domain name portfolio to discuss and value. Then we go into a marketplace list from namejet.com, and we're going to wrap it all up with our Name That Price game for the Sherpas. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are 3 past Sherpas and thought leaders. In order from left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of dnforum.com, nichewebsites.com, and publisher of theartofthename.com. Andrew Rosener, CEO of the domain name brokerage MediaOptions.com. And Paige Howe, founder and president of joedomains.com and domainoutlet.com. Sherpas, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to be here, Michael.
We're joined today by domain name investor Vin Jakes of vinsdomains.com, who is the first portfolio submission in our new process here on Domain Sherpa, where you can get your portfolio strategy and tactics reviewed by the Domain Sherpas and help find a cure for cancer at the same time. Details are at domainsherpa.com/join. Vin, welcome and thanks for your portfolio submission.
Hey, thanks for having me, and what a great idea to help a cause and learn about some of your names. That's great.
In the Domain Portfolio Review, we take user-submitted domain name portfolios and provide honest and constructive feedback to the owners. If you're watching the show on YouTube, click on the link in the description to view the full list of domain names discussed on today's show. Vin, you mentioned this is a sample of your entire portfolio. You submitted 25 domains, including mostly .com, a couple .orgs, and a few new TLDs like .contractors, .diamonds, and .photos. So the Sherpas can understand how you operate and get a feel for the way you run your investments. Let me start by asking you, Vin, what's your general strategy for buying domain names?
Well, learning from the Sherpas here, I like to focus on names that could be used for businesses. I tend to like aged names primarily, and as you mentioned, probably about 85–90% of my portfolio are all .coms. Although I have started to dabble in a little bit of these new GTLDs, and I own a couple of .orgs, maybe 1 or 2 .nets, maybe 1 or 2 .tvs, so not a whole lot there. My whole portfolio is about 350 names, and again, I'm trying to buy names that people will buy for me for a higher price than I paid.
Great. All right, let's start with the first Sherpa. Adam, what domains do you like on Vin's list, and what retail price would you ask if you owned them and only wanted to sell them?
So let's first start by saying that I took a look at his list, and Vin has either got some good knowledge from doing a lot of research on his own, or he's been learning a lot from some of the videos that we've done. Because, I mean, it was tough. There were a few on there that I would consider to be not very valuable, but most of them were pretty good brandable names. Even the ones that he's registering in the new GTLDs, they've got some value. So I would definitely say you're on the top 10%, Vin, and that you're on the right track. So I'll run through them now. You're definitely doing a good job, and if you've got 350 names and you've got these are in there, you're definitely going to be running a profitable company. So that's good. So as there's a couple things when I look at this list. I look at you send us the Esterbot things, and I look at those. I don't really look at the appraisal column because I don't really care what they think it's worth. But I do look at the search ads, and I make sure that they've got, if they have ads and it may not be great, it's still got potential. So Auction a Car, it's brandable, but it's got lots of advertisers. I didn't really give it that great a rating. Beach Lots, great for real estate and brandability. Big Rays could be for a job site or a penis enlargement. Burger Queen, there's tons of restaurants named Burger Queen, but it could be a trademark issue. Your photo ones, I like Buy My Photos. I think that's good. Great for a photo sharing site. I'm setting a couple up under Dollar Photos and Scenic Photos, and I've got Grad Photos and some other ones. So I think your Buy My Photos is a great one. It's just good. Like the other thing you may want to grab before this video airs is maybe Share My Photos or something. Buy Our Home, good brandable. I got offered something recently on like buyourhome.ca as a coincidence. So it's a good domain name.
What was that offer?
Like 6,000 or something like that. So
okay.
it's definitely got value. And I probably will sell it. Canadian Diamonds. I'm being Canadian. I mean, I'm not sure what Canadian Diamonds are, but still, at least it's somewhat brandable. The only one that I'm not really a big fan of, well, there's a couple, but chocolate donuts, because you really either need to be in the chocolate donut business or you got to really get a hold of somebody who's only selling chocolate donuts. So it's obviously a very small niche, and it's a case of, yeah, it's a good general product. Everyone eats them, everyone knows about them, but it's hard to build a business on chocolate donuts. Maybe.
So let me ask you, Adam, you mentioned ones that you like. You didn't mention any retail pricing. Let me just ask you about that Buy Our Home. Is that what it was? BuyOurHome.com? You got it?
No, yeah, BuyOurHome.com.
Now, you got a 6,000 offer on BuyOurHome.ca. You've recently said on a show that you price your .cas at about 10% of the .com that sells. So can Vin work backwards and say he should be asking about 60,000 for that domain?
Not really, only because I got somebody that came to me. Now, if I went to somebody else, it would be different, but you never know what the end user price is going to be. But that's not to say Buy Our Home isn't a great site to build a brandable, sell on my own site where you don't use a realtor. I mean, it's a great name. It's a great brandable, and I think it's got huge potential. So,
what would you set the retail price of that one at?
Right now, probably about 20 plus, but I mean, if he builds it out, it could be 100 plus easy.
Sure.
I mean, it's a good name. It's a real brandable. Everyone knows what Buy Our Home is. Buy My Home, Buy Our Home. Good name.
Now, BuyMy.photos, brand new domain name. I think it's good too. You know, it's sort of got that individual appeal to it. So maybe I've snapped 10 really good photos. I can put them up there for $1 a piece. Maybe 1 million people do that. Enormous library. You could become a marketplace for non-professional photographers. What would you price that one at?
And, you know, it's really hard to say because there's a script I've been looking at that will, and you're thinking about Buy My Photos. I'm thinking of My as a variety of photographers that could submit them. They'd still be My if I was a photographer that signed up. So
right.
I definitely do a photo sharing site, and I definitely set up where photographers could submit multiple photos. And it's, I mean, it's hard to say what it's worth now. I mean, a couple K now, but if it's built out again, it could grow. I mean, it's nothing great now because it's just a domain name.
Yeah.
But as a business, obviously, it's worth much more. And Vin seems to be on the same page as I am, where got to build businesses, man, and these names show it. I'll just give you some quick stuff on the other ones so we can get to the other guys.
Yeah.
But DC Taxis, good, brandable. You can sell it to a taxi company or limo company. Get a Tow, good, brandable. Halloween costumes for kids. Good forward domain name, but going to require a lot of marketing because there's a lot of places that sell costumes. Hosted.org, good for hosting company. MarijuanaPills.com. It's a sleeper right now. There's a big bust in the U.S. recently where they grabbed marijuana pills that are disguised as like candy. They call them grape or whatever they call them, and they're in little bags like almost Tic Tacs. So keep that around. It's going to be good. Mr. Gunn, not crazy about ordering wine. Online wine delivery service. Big money. People spend anything on wine. Portable jacuzzis. No real interest. I don't think you can. It has very little search stuff, 245K, and it's hard to carry a jacuzzi. Printers and copiers, not interested really. Swindled, good for a chargeback or fraud site where people can post issues. Top 10 resorts, good for development. I like Working Glass because it shows you're interested in brandable. To me, it's a play on working class, but I think it's very good when people remember it as Working Glass. Like, I'll remember it after we get out of here. Zin City, no thank you. And zoning.org, no thank you, especially when zoning.com is for sale.
Okay.
All right, good input. Paige, let's go over to you. What do you like on this list, and what retail price would you set?
Well, again, I'll echo Adam's comments, and I think especially if your total portfolio is only 350 and this is representative, I would say you've done a good job of filling the cupboard with stronger names. I wish I could go back and unfill my cupboard sometimes with the extra space. So I think, to still have that small size and have these. So let's see, I'll go some ways where I felt differently than Adam.
Sure.
Auction a car, nice, brandable. I think it shows it probably has a low wholesale price that it would be hard to get someone to buy that name because there's so many other, variations of the brandable. But sitting and waiting for someone to fall in love with it, I think that's where you make the big spread. So, not needing to sell is probably the most important thing to get the best value. I'm going to bounce around. Swindled was actually, I thought, one of the best names on the list because so many times you have the old and the ubble and the ubbly and all the different variations. But even swindle.com would almost be a site where people came to learn how to swindle other people. And I think here you want the customer to be the customer you're concerned about that got swindled. So I think it's the right variation of that word as opposed to the other one. So I think it's the right one, and it's one word, and you get to capture the value that comes from having it one word. So I would put that, probably retail, trying to get 20 or 25 for it. Again, wholesale, hard to make someone buy it, so probably 10% of that. But I think it's the right tense. Zen City apparently is in Iraq. Not a lot of real estate development going on over there. And if it's Zen like the state of mind, it's Z-E-N. So.
Oh, I was thinking Zen like Zinfandel, like maybe it was some sort of wine sales company or online.
Never thought of that. Yeah, never thought. But then again, the name, if you're having to explain it, it's not. Working class was interesting because Adam thought working class, I thought looking glass. So it's kind of close to a couple things that we say a lot, which I think is what you want in a brandable. So you might not do anything having to do with the glass industry or me working glass or, doing the thing where they melt it and they move it around, just because it's kind of got this little bit of remembrance to it that people seem to like. Portable jacuzzis, I don't think you put the E on, the plural of jacuzzis. So even though it might be correct grammar, I think if I saw it on a sign, it would be jacuzzis for sale. And for some reason, I just think it just has the I. Let's see. The other ones I liked were Get a Toe, Best Brandable.
What would you put on Get a Toe?
What's that?
What do you like Get a Toe at retail?
I'd want to buy it for like $500. I'd want to sell it for like $10,000. So, easy to buy. I mean, there's a lot of those out there. I don't know if you could walk to a domain conference and just put it down on a table and say, hey, anyone want to buy dinner in exchange for this name? At the same point, if someone's coming to you, it's Get a Toe. It passes the radio test. I don't know if it's the same number of things as a phone number. Is that it? Well, you'd have to have one extra digit for a phone number, but 1-800-GET-A-TOE. I mean, it's got a lot of appeal there.
Yeah.
So I liked it. So the Buy My Photos. With Buy My and the Sell Your Home, you have Buy My, Buy Your, Sell My, Sell Your. So it's almost like you always have 4 combinations. But I think the Buy My Photos is targeted at the photographer who wants to sell them. But I think you need to have a parallel site for people to come buy the photos because they're not going to care that your site's really good for letting people upload photos. They're going to want a site that tells them that these photos are for sale. So I think you almost want to pair it with a site that that actually sells photos, but then your Buy My Photos site is a way for people to upload it. And same with home. With home, you have home and house. So you have buy our house, buy our home, sell our house, sell our home, sell my house, sell my home. So I sat there and I said, well, what do you do with buy our home? And I guess I would want to, if I built a site, I would want to stay positive that we're not asking you to. Home usually means, the way I differentiate home and house is a physical asset, money, whatever. Home is like everything that has to do with it. You know what I mean? So you don't want to buy someone's home. It feels like you're kicking them out of their, their home. So the Buy My Home, I think, would be best for like whisper listings or, where you're basically saying buy it because we want to move up. I would stay positive. So anyway.
All right. So there's some homework for you on that one, Vin.
All right.
What's that?
There's some homework for Vin on that one.
Well, I just think that with the buy your, sell my, buy my, sell your, because there's a lot of ones, you have to wait until they're all taken for yours to become valuable,
Right.
or hope that someone likes yours especially.
Yep.
And then big raise, I'll finish with that. I think the best brandable on the list, again, wholesale, maybe only 1,000 or 2,000, maybe, hard to make someone buy it, but building a site, jobs, the present value of someone's future earnings of getting a raise, then I think you're in the 20 to 30 to 40,000. You could ask a lot for it because, education site, all kinds of stuff. So I thought that was the best of the brandables.
All right. Thanks, Paige. Hey, Drew, let's go over to you. What do you like on the list? At what price?
Yeah, I mean, we've touched on, a lot of the stuff that I like here, but, my favorites are auction a car. My best friend, since I'm about 5 years old, is in that business. His family had a very successful, they actually sold the business now, but, auction a car, for me, is a great brand. It says exactly what it is. It's not auction my car, auction your car, it's auction a car. Could be, for the wholesale car auction industry, could be for the insurance industry, could be for individuals. I like that one a lot. I like.
What do you like the retail? What would you set the retail at if you owned it?
If I own that name, I'd be looking for probably 25 grand, which is about where I set most of my, brandables with no search volume, no distinctive traffic, or I think a lot of these actually, I don't see any real standout wow, that's a home run domain, but there's some really good brandables in here, and I love those, and we sell a lot of those. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of names here that I would be pricing at the 15 to 25 grand range, which is, like I said, where I put most of those strong brandables.
All right, so
some of them
go for it. Yeah, maybe you could list some of the brandables that you like at the 15 to 25K range.
So the ones that I really like are auction a car. Mm-hmm. I really like beach lots. I'm in the market right now for a beach lot myself. We're shopping for a beach lot here in Panama in one particular area, and it's hard to find. I mean, it would be nice to have somebody specialized in beach lots. Mm-hmm. So I think beachlots.com is a great name. I like Big Raise just because but I don't know what I would do with it. I wouldn't put that one probably at the same price range. It's probably more like, I'd buy that for $69 on NameJet and I'd sell it for $5 grand or $3,500 if somebody came along. Burger Queen, I think that's too high risk. Get a Tow, love Get a Tow. I don't remember, I was trying to remember what it was here. I sold a towing name, again, a brandable towing name for I think 13 or 15 grand. Couple of years ago, and I can tell you, I don't remember what it was, but I don't think it was as good as Get a Tow. Get a Tow is a really solid name, and those tow truck companies make big money. I would be pricing Get a Tow at 25 grand, and I'd probably hold that line. I really wouldn't sell that for much less. Hosted, I didn't really like too much because hosting and .org don't really go together too well, but maybe. Marijuana Pills, I think you might have bought that from me. I think that was my name at some point.
Where'd you pick that one up, Vin?
I think that one came through NameJet, actually.
Yeah, I think I sold that one on NameJet with no reserve. I think you got that one from me cheap.
Snagged it.
Nice. So what would you put the retail?
Resorts I really like.
What do you like? What do you like Marijuana Pills at?
To sell it?
Yeah, to sell it at retail. He's going to have to wait more states to come along in the U.S.
People are getting all excited. I'm a pretty aggressive buyer of names in that space. And, it's gotten very difficult recently because people have big eyes. They all think they're worth $1 million. And, unfortunately, unfortunately or not, the marijuana industry at the moment is very segmented in the United States still. I mean, this is all brand new.
Yep.
There's no major players rolling up industry. There's no,
it's just too early.
People that are buying the domain names are small entrepreneurs. We own probably 500 names in the space. Wow. We own some really top tier ones. And I can tell you that, the biggest sale we've made was 22 or 25 grand. So
what would you price Marijuana Pills at?
I would Marijuana Pills at, 2,500 to 5 grand.
Yeah.
And
if you wait longer, there might be a bigger run.
Exactly.
Bigger hit.
In 3 to 5 years, I'd revise that. But for now, And then the other one is top10resorts.com, like super easy development. The only thing I don't like is that people can replace it with the numeric top and then 10resorts.com, which is probably, if I had to guess, the way that people type it into the search engine more often. I also want to say I think you bought that one from me on NameJot too. And then the last one that I really like here is zoning.org. I've gone through the process of trying to rezone a real piece of real estate. The complexity of zoning laws are, phenomenal.
It's terrible.
Hiring an attorney in that space is extremely expensive and time-consuming. So I think zoning.org, and I think that the .org does fit the domain in that particular keyword. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great name. I'd be looking for $5 to $10 grand on that name all day.
Yeah, a good parallel to that one. I'm looking at buying a motorcycle, and I type in, I'm looking for some laws, and I type in my search, and it takes me to dmv.org, which I immediately click on because it's got the .org. It feels like an authoritative site. It has great information, and I think likewise, zoning.org could be the same thing. You cover,
and
it's a mess to try and get all that information because every city is individual in the United States.
You know how much that kid wants for DMV.org?
No, how much?
Like $5 million. And you know how much he makes every year? I don't know the numbers exactly. This is from a conversation about 2 years ago that I had with him. I had a client that wanted to buy that from him. So we approached him. And, he's making well into the mid-six figures a year for that name.
Well, he's got a nicely developed site, a lot of great information on there.
Oh, it might have changed hands then because it was a very rudimentary site.
Oh, no, it's a pretty good site. It's ranking #1 for long-term searches. You don't do that with a rudimentary site on a topic with large search volume like that.
Well, I can't get into my thing. You told me I'm not allowed to go on the internet.
Sure.
Let me.
All right. And what do you think about the 3 new top-level domains that he has, Drew? Asbestos.contractors, Canadian.diamonds, buymmy.photos?
Probably by the time this video comes out, we've got a blog post that we're going to put out because with our newsletter and our brokerage service, people are sending us. I mean, it used to be 500 to 1,000 names a day, and now it's like 2,000 to 3,000 names a day that people are sending me.
Wow.
And most of it now is new GTLDs. Yeah. Now look, just to state my position, I think that some of these present a tremendous opportunity. I'm pretty neutral on the fact that this program has rolled out, period. I'm not overly concerned about premium.coms and their values. But what I will say is this, is that timing is everything in this business. And these things are a couple of days or a couple of weeks old. And I've got people every day emailing me with their new domain name that's maybe a couple of hours old or days old or weeks old. And they want to tell me that this domain is now worth 50 grand. And I said, look, yesterday it was worthless, okay? You paid $100 for it, and now you want to tell me that makes it worth 50 grand, and that's just simply, it's illogical. Now there will be exceptions where a company needs it because they want to defend, the .com version that they own, or somebody really thinks they have a revelation, they're going to launch a new company, and they want to use that new GTLD to do it, and they're willing to pay 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, whatever it might be, but at the higher end, my opinion is that, these things will take time to mature the way .com did. .com is 25 years old. It's just coming of age now, I think, in my opinion. And, I think, give these things time. And some of them are going to be worth a lot of money. But, you registered it yesterday. It's not worth 50 grand today. And it's
the same thing with the .com.
For a few hundred, a few thousand,
right.
No question about it. Okay, love it. There's going to be people making boatloads of money. My buddy Paige over here is he's already flipping these things and making money. But I think that, for them to really have intrinsic value takes time. It's going to be.
Let me ask all 3 Sherpas. It doesn't sound like it, but does Vin have any domains on this list that you would consider dropping?
Well, it depends if he's making money or not. I mean, if he's making, I don't know what Clues is. It's a pronounceable 5-letter.com with only 350 names in his portfolio. He's got room to hold them if he wants.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Zin.
I wish my renewals were $3,500 a year.
Yeah. Andrew, what were you saying?
if Zin City, I mean, that could be a typo of Sin City since the S and the Z are next to each other on the keyboard. If that one's making money, I would keep it. If it's not making money, if it doesn't have any traffic, I'd probably drop that because I don't really see, okay, it could be, maybe it's a stretch for, the Zinfandel City as you were sort of inferring to, but, it's probably a stretch. I don't see a lot of value in that name. Portable jacuzzis, like Adam said, I mean, I think portable and jacuzzis, those words just don't belong together. Other than that, though, I don't really, there's nothing terrible on here. I don't think Canadian.diamonds really is, that they go together all that well. But
well, actually, it is a pretty neat specialty, Canadian diamonds. I actually bought one for my wife about 10 years ago because I work for a Canadian company. But in any event, there is a lot of advertising.
Good for you. Support those Canadians.
Yeah.
Well, and you got to take everything with a grain of salt. Like if you know about an industry and that 3 Sherpas don't happen to know about it, then that's one advantage. Portable jacuzzi. I bet there is a portable jacuzzi. I bet you can rent jacuzzis for like parties and stuff, and they probably make portable jacuzzis. So
they've got those limousines with the jacuzzi in the back.
Right. So having said that, still look into whether it's spelled right or not. If it's spelled wrong and it's not getting any traffic and you're not getting any offers, I think the Sherpas would recommend considering that for drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple of Sherpas mentioned one potential trademark issue with BurgerQueen.com. It sounds like the rest of the list is pretty clean, right, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Vin, you told me that that you're thinking about developing Halloween costumes for kids.com as an affiliate site, but you're not sure of the cost to develop it or whether it's worth it versus the potential income. Let's go to you, Adam. You've done development in the past. Can you talk about whether it might be worth it? It sounds like it's a phrase that I would type in as I'm preparing for Halloween for my kids.
Yeah, I would believe it's a phrase people would type in. You also have to take into consideration it's going to take some marketing or some AdWords dollars. Development is probably the cheapest part, but I mean the other thing is it's very seasonal. I mean, if it was costumes for kids, it could be for all kinds of parties, but Halloween costumes is very seasonal, so you may get a month to 2 months out of it. But then I have names like Christmas songs that it's only good for a month or so, and it makes enough money to cover itself, so I keep it. So it does have potential, but you'd have to put a lot of time into developing it. To build it out would be about $1,000. That's about it.
Yeah, a better question, maybe. Which of the sites on the list do you think I should prioritize for development?
Let me look at the list again. One sec. We're all going to have different opinions here.
I'll jump in. I think your big 3, and this gets back to everyone just looking at their checkbook. What do you spend the most amount of money for? When I used to do stock market investing, when times were tough, that's what you always went back to. And you've got home and car, with buy your home, buy your car, get a tow. So I think it seems like going for those big areas, that's where you've got the most amount of money in terms of the transaction that you're going to help enable is going to be the biggest on those real estate and car names.
Yeah, beach lots, man. I'm looking at. I think beach lots is the easiest. It's a very clear development path, and you can easily get a feed to plug in to fill that thing with inventory. Might be a little tricky, little customization in order to get it to only pull waterfront lots.
Right.
But beach lots I think that's you're talking about high dollar value transactions. That's probably that'd be my favorite, I think.
So I think the question is mine, you sick bastard.
Just filling time, baby. Just filling time in your world, man.
Just kidding, fellow Sherpas. I think I'd go with Get a Tow, and I'd do a directory that's available with a mobile app where people could find it easily instead of being pulled over by all those companies that pull you over and you have an accident and charge you $500. I'd probably do a directory on Get a Tow and do it national.
Yeah.
All right, Vin, any last questions about specific domain names, tactics, your strategy that you have for the Sherpas?
Yeah, I do. I don't know, some of you might have saw the post yesterday. I actually invested in a couple of the .domain names I picked up, and I was thinking of maybe starting some specialty auction houses. I know Adam just the other day mentioned on his video that the more places you get your names out, the better. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned Say-Do, Afternic, GoDaddy, domain name sales. But none of those are specialized. They accept any types of names, and there's so many to go through. I ended up picking up LLL.domains, LLLL.domains, N.domains, 4 N's,
I thought he was stuttering for a minute.
H domains, and a couple of others. And I thought about maybe starting some specialized auction houses that just really whittle down what people would be looking for. And I was curious on your opinion, whether it's worthwhile to pursue that or not.
This isn't a plug, but take a look at showcasemanager.com. Not for the site, but take a look at the script. It's got a good auction script if you're looking to do something. And I know the developers, they did a custom job for me. It was under $1,000.
What do you guys think
really
about that, where you take, the domain name aftermarket, and then you whittle it down to a teeny little sliver of it, but you make a site that really specializes in that?
If you're going to do outbound...
Great idea. I think you should have a store for sports domains and green domains and coaching domains. That's what we did. So.
And echo domain.
I mean, the trouble at the end of the day is just getting people there, which is the trouble with any development. It's like, okay, I love the idea. I mean, LLL domains, right? It's the most liquid domain asset you can own in this industry. Mm-hmm. They get traded, the most regularly of any domains in this industry. I love the idea of having an LLL marketplace, right? But the thing is how do you get people there? How do you get the sellers there? How do you get your sellers to price the stuff, where it actually might sell? And then how do you get the buyers there?
Well, I think the buyers is definitely the harder part. The sellers, you can set your commission lower than everybody else.
You're going to build a site on insurance names, and you target an insurance marketplace. Then you market to those insurance people and send there, and all they see is insurance names, and they're not bogged down with a whole bunch of the crap they're not interested in.
But I'll get back to the domain question. So we might be in the minority. We stayed away from the .domains compared to the other TLDs, only because I really feel like you have to factor in the dot. Okay, dot is part of your brand if you go for the new TLDs, and .domains almost sounded like it was redundant because domains really don't have a meaning outside of domains. So .domains, the only domains that I know about are in the internet world. So we have a lot of, we own LLL, we own the LLLdomains.com and other stuff like that, thinking the same way. But we just thought the .domains was kind of redundant. And then secondly, it always seems like the domain industry wants to think up its own name when it goes and invents a marketplace or wants to buy something, and so they don't seem like they're like, oh, let's just invest in the best name we can. They've always seemed to go for the So I think you're right in that developing the ones that you got makes a lot of sense.
Except for us, Paige. We bought DNX.com when we launched our marketplace, man. We went all in.
Buddy, you eat your own cooking. There's no doubt about it. So.
Right, Vin. So Andrew's part of DNX.com, so he speaks from experience about developing a marketplace. The thing that I always think about when I look at these new domains, they seem so sexy and fun. And then, when you were talking, Paige, I was thinking, would I buy LLLdomains.com and build a marketplace on it? And it just doesn't seem as sexy as LLL.domains. Like, I wouldn't be as enthusiastic about developing it. But is it the better name?
I'm the opposite, because LLL.domains is now 11 syllables or 7 syllables. You can't put the dot in your username. So if you're on Twitter, you got to decide if you're LLL_domains or LLL DOT domains, or is the name of your company LLLDOTdomains.com LLC. And so I think there's still some stuff with your Facebook handle that, whereas I can take LLL domains and say that's what I am, and I don't even have to tell you I'm at the .com. You know what I mean? Actually, we own 4-letter domains too, so that's the one we were going to use, is just 4letterdomains.com, because it just sounds better. And so, but if I had 4-letter .domains, I feel like I'm inviting questions about what is it again. So anyway,
good point.
That's a solid point about the Twitter handle. I never thought about that. That if doesn't matter what's on the other side of the dot. If you're domains.guru, you can't put that dot in your Twitter user handle.
My Twitter handle is vinsdomains.com, so spelled out.
Yeah.
Yes, you got
it. That's it. It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's definitely something, it's increasingly important for people.
Hey, Vin, you mentioned
match up their Twitter handle.
Vin, you mentioned in your submission quote, at $4 a name to evaluate, being part of the Domain Sherpa review and having your domains reviewed by the 3 Sherpas was a no-brainer. In response to that, Vin, I say thank you for joining us and being the first as this new process, and thanks again for helping to find a cure for cancer.
Not a problem. Thank you very much for having me. It really is a no-brainer. I would encourage everybody else to do it. Adam mentioned on his video earlier this week that everyone should have a buddy. If you don't have a buddy, this is a great alternative.
Yeah.
Hey, and I'll be your buddy.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Vin.
Thank you, guys.
Vin.
Take care.
This section is sponsored by NameJet, and we'll be reviewing 18 domain names heading to auction soon. Now, NameJet announced that they have partnered with Oversea.net, and the upcoming Domain Fest conference will feature 40 premium domain names for auction. We're reviewing part of the list today. All auctions close during the conference, the DomainFest.com conference that's running from March 31st through April 2nd. So if you're interested in any, get your minimum bid, which I think might be $69 in most cases, in now. The links below go to the domain names directly on NameJet. They're not commissionable links. They're just trackable so NameJet can see the traffic we're sending. Paige, let's start with you this round. What names do you like on NameJet list and why?
Hey, can I just clarify one thing real quick?
Sure.
This is actually the Domain Fest auction. This is a segment of the Domain Fest auction list. This isn't normal NameJet auction. This
is correct.
Okay.
This is a normal NameJet auction that will happen as part of the Domain Fest conference. Why are you shaking your head? No.
But these are reserved names. These aren't expired names. Most of these probably have reserves attached to them. I wouldn't say that these are expired.
You are correct. NameJet runs both expired auctions for their partners like Network Solutions, and they also run reserve auctions. They call them all auctions, and you don't know whether it's a reserve or an expired unless you go and look up the Whois information to see if it's in pending delete. And then sometimes if it has a reserve, it has a small little R on it, and you don't know what the reserve price is. Paige, let's start with you.
All right, so some terrific one-word and strong two-word names. So again, I'm taking it from the view that this is a marketplace auction. This isn't a, hey, someone forgot to renew this 6 years ago and it's coming up and we're all going to slug it out at wholesale.
Sure.
This is for lack of a better word, a reseller trying to sell their name. So it depends where the reserves are, because most of them have a huge difference between wholesale and retail. That's it. So truckers.com was my number one on the list. Big industry. It's really amazing when you think about it, between salary, trucks, gas, how much is spent in this country driving stuff around. And I live in Tennessee, so I see them all the time.
But what would you do with
truckers
truckers if you, let's say that you put in a, what would you do with truckers if you bought it at a great wholesale value on NameJet?
I would probably make a site geared toward people that drive trucks.
Man, I would make a job board. I mean, if you look up the search volume on truck job, I don't remember if the keyword, I used to own the .org, if it's truck jobs or trucker jobs, but it's like 200,000 exact match searches a month.
Also,
and like
truck
$4
driving.
CPC.
Wow.
It's a monster.
Adam.
Also, truck driving school's big.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Paige, back to you. Truckers.com is your number one pick.
Yeah, I mean, they're controlling the purchase of a lot of fuel every day. They're controlling the purchase of a lot of, stuff every day. And a lot of times they can only drive so many hours a day. So, frankly, they do a lot of things on the internet, I guess is the best way to say it. So there's
point.
a lot of, but that said, we're to evaluate, you know what I mean? And I think once it gets between maybe 5,000 and 15,000, you're like, okay, I'll buy it. And once it gets above 15 as a wholesale buyer, you're trying to think, well, can I really get 150 or 250? So I guess that's the question is, I don't want to be bidding against a trucking company for it because they may have better ideas. So I put it at 15 on the low and 250 on the high. And I guess that's kind of what I feel our business is.
Wait. 15 on the low and 250 on the high?
Yeah.
So you would buy it for 15 and you would sell it retail for 250?
I'm not saying I would buy it for 15. I'm saying that's the type of wholesale value that I would sit there and say, even if I don't know what to do with it, I'm good there. So,
got it. All right.
Something like college jobs, I thought long and hard. At first I was like, awesome, $100,000 name, whatever. But it's like, is that for a job while you're in college? Well, heck, that's not going to make you a lot of money. You're going to go wait tables or something like that. So, I kind of stayed away from that one. Now, night jobs is a different story because I think a lot of people, you've opened up your market a lot bigger there with night jobs as opposed to college jobs. So I put that number 2. I put vintage shoes number 3, only because it seems like you get better shoes if they're older. They're actually probably made better in between style and fashion and everything. So I've got that one at I'd love to, I don't know, would I buy it if it's under 10? Probably. And if I owned it, would I try to sell it for 100? Probably. So, I guess that's the market we're in. Virus software I didn't like because I think we want antivirus software. So you want to help fix me if I get virus software, but it really isn't virus software because software is what you go buy on purpose, so you really wouldn't go buy that one. And then on another negative, federal loan, even though it's awesome, $56,000 value, yeah, it's a federal student loan, but we call that a student loan. So then you say, well, I want a government loan, but do you ever really say, I want a federal loan? So again, great estimate because of federal student loan program, but I don't know if we really call it federal loans. Not saying it's a terrible name. I'm just saying, does it have the panache, so to speak, to get up in the $10,000 to $20,000 to $50,000 range? So those are my 3 high and 3 that I thought might not be as good as I first thought.
Yeah. All right. Drew, let's go to you.
Okay. Let's see. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 names on here that I really like. Truckers was definitely number 1. Just because I have looked into those keywords. It really is. Not that truckers itself is the keyword, but it probably is one of the best brandable names for the space, and it could be used for to be a really good job board. For truck driving jobs. And that's big business.
Hey, which is more valuable in that space, trucker.com or truckers.com?
I think the plural in this case, truckers.com. You're definitely the plural for me. I would say the plural. Again, I'd like to see what Google pushes with the Google Instant, which version they're pushing, and look at search volume. But I think this one's not necessarily. You're not really looking at search volume, although there probably is some of significance, but I think the keyword is truck driving jobs, and that's what I'd be targeting. And I'd probably pay right in the same range that Paige talked about. I'd probably pay 10 to 15 for it, and I'd probably build. That's probably when I would build. I don't say that very often anymore because I know how much.
How much work it is. Yeah, you've built enough that you know.
But I would probably get at that one because I think that's a huge opportunity. The other one, I like Get a Deal. Everybody wants to get a deal, and I think Get a Deal is a great brandable. It's not one I pay a lot for, but if I got it for $2,000 or something, I like that, and I'd probably put it in that brandable range of 15 to 25 to sell it. I love blackcar.com. It's just Black Car Service, good name. It probably is going to lose a lot of value really fast because of Uber. I think Uber will just become ubiquitous. And so if you're a startup and you want to launch your service on blackcar.com, you've got a great brand, but you're probably not going to be very relevant because Uber is just going to eat your lunch. I like nightjobs.com for the same reason as truckers. Job boards is a real straightforward approach to development, and they make money. And night jobs, there's a lot of people out there looking for second jobs or to work at night. And it says what it means what it says, real straightforward. I'd definitely pay, I'd want to look at the search on it, but I definitely pay a few grand for that. And, depending on what the search looks like, I probably wouldn't sell it for less than 20, 25, and maybe more depending on what the search looks like. And then, I was with Paige. I like vintage shoes. There's a lot of secondhand clothing stores out there, and usually the highest price item in the store is either handbags or shoes. So, vintage shoes, I think that's pretty big name. It's a big category on eBay. So I like that name.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Great point. All right, Adam, let's go over to you. What do you like on the list and why?
So Truckers is a good name. I don't know what I'd do with it, but it's a good name. I would do truck driving school or something like that, or what and what he said before.
Yeah.
Tax consulting, love it. Good name, almost $11 a click. Timing is good for now. College jobs, I'd like to get that and point to a page that says not found, because there's no college jobs once they get out. That's really the truth. Night jobs is good. Tropical plants, good for Shane. He'd like that one. Virus software page is right. Antivirus software is better, but it's still got a high CPC at about $6-7 a click. And I really like Tropical Resorts. I think it's a good name for a vacation site.
Yeah. Would you buy any of these, Adam? Any of the ones that you just mentioned you like?
College jobs, tax consultant, and maybe Tropical Resorts.
What would you pay for those if you were to buy them?
Tax consultant, easily 3 to 5K minimum wholesale.
Yeah.
I think Tropical Resorts could be about the same. I think all those are in the 3 to 5 because you can build a business on them.
Yeah. Stepping.com. I think it's the besides truckers.com, it's the only single word, but then it's it's
a step class. You could do a step class there.
I guess you could do a
Yeah,
step
no,
class.
it definitely has an application, and it is a good brand, but
But it's got the ing. It's almost like the past tense, verbs that page like the one above because it actually applied to that one. But in most cases,
come on. I mean, people say running, biking, skiing, swimming.
Yeah, for me, it's dancing. Actually, it's more, high stepping, two stepping, kind of brandable in that space.
No, but
if I inherited it, you know what I mean, or something like that, or bought a portfolio, and I would go toward that. But I would, capitalize that I was the name for that because it is one word, and one word's one word. So.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys
Online cash was the other one, Mike. Online cash I had on there as my top 5.
Well, I don't know how you push that through the computer.
What's that?
You can't push it through the computer though, so it's not
Of course,
really
you got
online.
Bitcoin.
What if you created
That's
a
not
currency? What if you created a currency that didn't really exist, but you could transfer it between people, almost like I'm trying to think. It's like a
Pagecoin. How about
virtual currency.
Pagecoin.
Pagecoin. I'm going to register that. What about CairoEgypt.com? I've seen a lot of these recently coming on. People are, I think there's one guy that's trying to like blow them out. It's like, LouisvilleKentucky.com or.
I remember. Yeah, no.
Does anybody like the city, state, or citycountry.coms?
The city followed by state or city followed by country. They've just never, ever, ever done well. I've never seen a good sale.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only time I do them is when there's 2 strong cities. Like we'll do a lot with maybe Portland, Maine, or Portland, ME, just because the Portland's probably the Oregon one. But again, we're still far down on the list. So Cairo, the big one's in Egypt. So I don't know if like the city in Iowa is going to get Cairo.com. So then you're going to need this one to talk about Egypt. And then on the other thing about the city-state, they look great in the stats because so many people are typing an address into Google, so they're putting the city, comma, 2-letter state code, and it just jumps the stats up, and you think, oh my gosh, people are just wanting to learn about this thing, but it's not as much. So I love geo names, but it's almost like if that was, I'm trying to think, if it was a place where you really did need to know which one they were talking about, it might have a lot more value.
Sherpas, we're now entering the lightning round. This is where we play the game Name That Price. Paige Howe is the reigning champion before we took our hiatus a few weeks back. Here's how the game works. I name 3 domain names that sold within the past 12 months. You each write down a price that it sold at. All right? Get a piece of paper. You write down the price. Not looking up search volume, not looking at past sales, no looking at anything. We're relying on your gut. The closest answer wins that question. Why is this game fun and educational? Because we get to question something that sold and figure out why, and we get to see why Andrew thinks that it's worth more than Paige and vice versa. You guys clear?
It's registered and available, though, right?
No. We're doing Name That Price today.
Okay, all right.
So this is what we think it sold for at retail.
What it sold for at retail, real prices with a real buyer.
End user sales that you're going to be bringing up.
American dollars?
American dollars only. It could have been a wholesale purchase. I don't know. It's just public information. You guys ready? Here's the first name.
Bring it on.
We know that three-letter.coms sell in the 5 and 6 figures, and in some extreme cases sell in the millions, like sex.com. But what about a three-letter.org? What do you think the value of idv.org? idv as in Victor.org. What did it sell for? Write down your answer. All right. Paige is going, Drew's got $600. Paige has, what do you got, Paige? You going with your
13,502.
Oh my gosh, he's mixing it up. 13,502, and Adam's got $7,000. And
I thought someone would go 13,501 just to game me.
You thought, but you were wrong. Rick's not on today. The correct answer is $10,560.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's me.
Yeah, 10,000.
No, that's me. You went over.
Well, but it doesn't matter. It's the closest. You are closer, though.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm closer.
Adam is closer.
I didn't think you knew your math. I thought I could get you.
Adam got the
you
win.
had to carry the one, and that would get you.
All right.
You're losing your crown today, buddy.
So, you guys were, Drew, you thought it wasn't worth anything. Paige, I don't know what your thinking is because you keep going for the same 13.5. You're just playing a game. Adam, you were close. Why did idv.org sell for so much, you guys think?
Because orgs stink.
I was shooting for a wholesale value. I didn't know.
Retail. All right. So you would.
No, you said you weren't going to tell us, Michael.
You said
you
it could be wholesale, could be retail.
Well,
I think we need to look at end user sales going forward.
I don't know if it's retail or wholesale. It's public information and it's sold.
That's what I
listed
want
on
to hear.
DN Journal. It could be retail or it could be wholesale. You can only assume retail.
Actually, there's a big company, Investors Database or IDB Reports or something, so I figured it was that.
All right, Adam's got 5 minutes, so I'm going to move on
Is
to the next
that
one.
IDB or IDV? Like
V as in Victor.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. All right. Next up, let's go for 4 letters, but tack on a .com. The domain name is BSRC. Boy, Sam, Rachel, Charlie.com. The Scrabble score is only 8 points, which means that it's using pretty common letters. What do you think it sold for? BSRC.com. Hold up your numbers. Adam's at 3,000. Drew's at 7,501. And Paige is at 13,503. All right. The correct answer is $3,700. So Adam gets that one.
I cannot be defeated.
4
That's
letters.
it. No more 13.5.
4 letters. Good. You can see my strategy here, Paige. I'm embarrassing you by picking the names that aren't close to 13.5.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about 3,700 for a 4-letter.com? Is that, Drew, you went a little bit high. Adam, you nailed it. Can you expect 4 common letters to sell for about $3,000?
Yeah,
mean,
unless it's really spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, we own a lot of 4 letters. I think Adam does too. Paige probably does too. But I mean, I've sold them all over the place. I've had end user sales from $1,500 to, I think our biggest one was we sold one to the wife of the Sheikh of Oman for the name of a restaurant in the new museum that they built, and she paid like $38,000 for it.
Wow.
So most of them are in that 3 to 10 sweet spot. Anything else that's really extraordinary can go up. Like you're saying.
But this sounded good with the SRC or whatever, or like an abbreviation.
Yeah, it was good letters.
Brighter Source or Brighter Source or something.
Yeah.
So the SRC is nice.
All right, Adam's got a lock on this game for today. Let's see if he can.
He's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go.
Let's see if he can get a perfect. Shut everybody out.
Let's talk about new TLDs until he has to go.
Last up, it's a dictionary word that I pulled up, right? It's a great dictionary word, but it's past tense. The word is pinstriped.com. P-I-N, striped.com. P-I-N-S-T-R-I-P-E-D. What did it sell for? Write down your answer. I can't wait to see your answer, Paige.
He might as well guess anything now. He lost.
I got 2.
All right, come on. I need answers. Adam's got to go. Adam said 3,000. Drew said 13,503. Paige said 1,950. And the correct answer is $2,400. Adam is a 3-peat, shuts everybody out.
What did he guess?
3,000.
buddy.
No way.
I'm closer, 1950.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second.
Oh,
Wait a second. Yeah. You're closer.
Yeah.
I still win.
I know how to carry the
still win.
one.
I was totally thinking you were going to go for 1350.
He's still the champ of the day, though. He's still the champ of the day.
All right, Adam is the champion. There's no shutout, but Paige made a good showing, and Drew, I don't know, buddy. Well, you missed that. You didn't understand the rules in the first one. We're gonna throw that as a newbie. All right,
I didn't show up. I didn't show up for this game.
30 seconds apiece to promote anything you want. Adam, anything you got going on?
Well, I'm in LA at the end of this month. I'm at Saturday. I'm teaching a course on how to broker domain names. I'll post more information about it. You can find it on namebroker.com. Saturday night, I'm at the Southern California Domainers Meetup, and then after that is Domain Fest. So I got a busy week once we hit to LA.
Awesome. And I'm going to try and make it. I heard you're speaking, so I want to try and make it to that one. I got a family engagement that night, but I'm going to try and drive over as soon as that's done. Drew, anything you want to promote?
We are going to be doing a very large portfolio auction through NameJet as well. That's coming up. So I think some of the first names, some of the lower value names with no reserve have just been added to the back order list. But yeah, we've got about 2,000 names that we're going to be
Wow.
putting out to the highest bidder.
Are all those your names, or are those yours and clients, or only clients?
We are representing a couple of clients that have also got some names in the list. But the majority of them are our names.
When does that start, Drew?
Names.
When does that start?
I think the first auctions will start on April 4th.
Okay.
Just after Domain Fest.
No reserve?
Most of it, I think 90% is no reserves.
Nice.
And we've got, some of the top tier names have got reserves. We try to keep them as low as possible.
All right, follow DomainSherpa on Twitter or Facebook, and when Drew starts auctioning those off, we'll put out a link to them. Paige, anything you want to promote?
Well, speaking of LA, we're going out for Domain Fest, and
Nice.
we're still, some of our LA names we're pricing really high. We want to keep them forever, but we've got about 50 names priced under $200 at ilove.la. So look around. It's 9 million people. If GOTLDs are going to work, we try to pick out some better names. So take a look. ilove.la.
And it seems like there's more every time I go down there. It drives me crazy. People love LA. If you receive benefit from today's show, please post a comment below and thank the Sherpas. Thanks to Vin Jakes of vinsdomains.com for submitting his portfolio for review and making a donation to help find a cure for cancer. Thanks to NameJet for submitting their portfolio and sponsoring the Domain Sherpa review. And thanks again to our Domain Sherpas for sharing their experience and insights. We'll see you all next time.